At his receipts. Say Rashad outside. Oh my God, you house nigga. Oh, Rashad, no, you erased it, boy. These are your receipts, boy. You might want to, you went to North Carolina, you can read. You better read the beginning of this. To Tim, right? That's who gave you this. You is delusional. It says, me complaining that we only have 2 days, sir. I'm sorry. I wanted more because if we got 5 days, we will win all the trophies. I'm sorry that we complaining about 2 days when we wanted 5. I tasted success and wanted more. I thought that was our goal. See, I thought our goal was to be the best. That's what I'm telling Tim. This got nothing to do with Rashad. This part that you posted is about Rashad. You tell Liam I'm sorry. See, they was trying to fire me and Joe at the beginning of the season. You tell Liam I'm sorry. I don't want anyone, meaning you boy, to lose your job. So I'll conform. Over my bad decision, I'll push underdog more, meaning at the moment in time, I wasn't collabing on posters anymore. I wasn't wearing the product anymore. So I said, I'll wear it. I'll do the tap and dance for you to keep your job. And everybody else in the studio. Because if I left, quit, or got fired, remember, you got to get the house. And then all the rules that I have inside my contract kicks in, meaning Gilbert Arenas shut down. Now you got to create another. You see, I was conforming for you. This tells everybody the fact that you will post this that has nothing to do with you, which was for you. Let's all of us know how you did pick a side and you chose them over us. This was about us having 5 days because we wasn't happy with 2 and they wanted to fire. You're gonna need some milk.
Stay locked in because this story isn't cooling off. If anything, it's heating up more with each passing day. The ongoing back and forth between Gilbert Arenas and Rashad McCants has carried into yet another weekend, and instead of dying down, the tension just keeps building. If you've been following the Gil's Arenas situation over these past few weeks, you already know this story has kept evolving since the fallout with Underdog first broke. New details keep surfacing, more names keep getting pulled into it, and just when it looks like things might settle, another post drags the whole thing right back into the spotlight. At this point, it's become one of the biggest ongoing storylines in basketball media, with both men putting their own version of events out for the public to weigh. Over the past several days, things have kept moving fast. Rashad McCants recently sat down at the Underground Lounge alongside Lou Williams and Spice Adams, where he laid out his side of what's been happening behind the scenes. Shortly after that conversation started circulating, Gilbert Arenas launched what looked like a full media run of his own, making appearances across different platforms, starting with a Brooklyn stop around 7 p.m. and continuing from there to lay out his version of events. Across those appearances, Gilbert added more layers to the story and made clear he feels Rashad turned on him. According to Gilbert, Rashad stayed in contact with people Gilbert viewed as working against them, even after being warned that certain figures at Underdog didn't have the group's best interests in mind. Gilbert claims he named those individuals directly, yet says Rashad kept publicly shouting them out anyway, and in Gilbert's eyes, that's exactly where the trust between them broke down. Once those comments hit the internet, the disagreement spilled straight onto social media. Gilbert and Rashad started trading posts on X, and the exchange quickly became one of the most talked about storylines among basketball fans, moving fast enough that it was genuinely hard to keep up with in real time. Just when it looked like things had peaked, the situation escalated again the following day. Rashad posted screenshots of text messages, adding yet another layer to the dispute. It's not entirely clear what triggered this particular round, but Rashad appeared to be suggesting that Underdog had actually handled things fairly, even implying that someone owed the company an apology for how they'd previously been treated. That post got Gilbert's attention quickly, and he responded with a detailed rebuttal of his own, arguing that Rashad had accidentally proven his point rather than his own. Gilbert wrote that the message Rashad posted was actually him taking one for the team to protect everyone's job, explaining that he and Josiah had voiced frustration after their show got cut down to 2 days a week on their own channel, and that they'd reportedly been warned about termination if they didn't apologize. Gilbert argues that what Rashad posted actually shows he was willing to stand down so the rest of the team could keep working, even after giving up a large portion of his own contract, and that despite all of that, he still ended up feeling betrayed. That response reignited the entire conversation, since Gilbert wasn't just denying the claim, he was arguing the screenshots actually supported his account rather than Rashad's. Gilbert didn't stop there either. A few hours later, he doubled down with another one of his signature trolling videos. Anyone familiar with him knows exactly how he handles a public feud. His humor tends to run dark, and once he commits to a bit, he takes it all the way. In this one, he joked about business booming at the mortuary, gave Rashad the nickname Cemetery Larry, and even jokingly called him the newest client, inviting fans to drop tombstone emojis in the comments. Love it or not, that's the persona Gilbert has built online, and once he leans into something, he commits fully, which anyone stepping into a public feud with him should probably expect. At the core of Gilbert's argument is one central claim, that Rashad betrayed him during a critical stretch for Gil's arena.
Gilbert says he accepted difficult terms, apologized when required, and gave up a significant portion of his own contract specifically to protect everyone else's job security. In his telling, while he was quietly making those sacrifices, Rashad was publicly supporting people Gilbert believed were working against the group, which is essentially where the snake label comes from. Not from any single post or interview, but from what Gilbert sees as a pattern of disloyalty that ultimately damaged their relationship. When this all first surfaced, fans immediately connected it back to the earlier news that Gil's Arena had been cut to 2 episodes a week, a scheduling change that raised the first real questions about who actually held decision-making power behind the scenes, and whether Underdog had more control over the show than people originally assumed. Gilbert now points back to that exact period as evidence that tension had been building well before the public fallout, arguing that's where the real conflict began, with everything since simply being the aftershock. As for what's actually true behind closed doors, nobody outside the people directly involved really knows. Right now, all anyone can really do is weigh both accounts and wait for more information to surface. Gilbert has his version, Rashad has his, and until harder evidence emerges, most of the public conversation remains built on competing claims rather than confirmed fact. What is clear is that this story isn't slowing down. Every new post seems to spark another round of headlines. If Rashad has genuinely moved on from Underdog, this might be his moment to take control of his own narrative, rather than letting others shape it for him. Cemetery Larry has stuck as Gilbert's nickname for him, and given how quickly this keeps escalating, it doesn't look like that's going away anytime soon. My honest take, Rashad should seriously consider starting his own channel and laying out his full side, uninterrupted. Interviews and media appearances are fine, but eventually you need a platform where you control the pacing and can respond to every claim directly yourself. I said something similar about Ryan Clark during the ESPN situation. Instead of relying entirely on traditional media, he probably could have built a channel to hundreds of thousands of subscribers within days simply off public interest, since the audience is already actively searching for that content. Sometimes the smartest move is speaking directly to people instead of relying on someone else's platform. Maybe Rashad's already building something we haven't seen yet, but if I were in his position, I'd already be posting full breakdowns of my side. If it's true he's no longer with Underdog, why wait? Build the platform, launch the show, and get your version out there before someone else shapes the entire narrative for you. That's genuinely how media works now. Whoever tells their story most consistently tends to win public opinion. And Gilbert has been relentless. Appearances, posts, videos, content constant updates. If Rashad wants people to fully understand his side of things, he's eventually going to need to match that same pace. According to Gilbert, there was a lot happening internally at Underdog that fans never actually saw. Staff cuts, a reduced schedule, and a new executive pushing contract changes he didn't agree with. He says that's when he pushed back, unwilling to accept where things were heading, and that he and Josiah Johnson held their ground specifically to protect everyone else's jobs, even at personal cost. Gilbert claims there were even internal conversations about letting Rashad go, but because Rashad had been part of Gil's arena from day one, and because Gilbert was the one who originally brought him onto the show, he felt obligated to stay loyal to him regardless. That's part of why Gilbert seems so frustrated now. In his eyes, while he was fighting internally to protect people, Rashad was publicly crediting the very people Gilbert believed were trying to push him out, and Gilbert's essentially asking how you give credit to people allegedly working to replace you. That question sits at the center of this entire dispute. If Gilbert's account holds up, believes Rashad ended up siding, even if unintentionally, with the people trying to remove him. Rashad, on the other hand, doesn't appear to see the situation as quite that clear-cut, which is exactly why these text messages have become such a flashpoint. Both sides believe the messages support their own versions of events, which is why the public debate over what they actually prove hasn't let up. If it turns out those screenshots are missing important context, or more messages surface that shift the picture, public perception could shift right along with it. Context matters, and social media rarely tells the complete story. But if the messages are exactly what Gilbert claims they are, Rashad may have unintentionally raised more questions than he answered by posting them in the first place. At the end of the day, nobody outside the situation knows the full truth, so all anyone can really do is wait for more to come out. One thing does seem certain. Gilbert isn't done talking. Anyone familiar with his online style knows that once he starts trolling, especially with a nickname like Cemetery Larry already in play, he tends to keep going until he gets a response. That's simply how he operates. For now, all eyes remain on Rashad to see whether he responds to Gilbert's latest comments or lets things cool off on their own. Either way, this story is still very much in motion, and there are likely more chapters ahead before it's fully resolved. So stay locked in. This definitely isn't the last update, and we'll be back with more the moment something new develops.